Welcome back to, it should be Redskins Sports today instead of Inside Sports because we've been talking about the Redskins. I'd like you to answer one other question. You know, over the years, there have been many presidents here in the United States, and they live in Washington at least for 4 years, unless they get assassinated or they get, you know, don't get reelected. But who would you say is what would be termed the #1 Redskin fan of all presidents?
I would have to say Richard Nixon. He was the biggest Redskins fanatic, not only when he was president, but when he was vice president in the 1950s. He was a huge Redskins fan. He was actually a big fan of a Redskins player named Gene Brito.
The end.
Right.
Who used to cross his legs like this.
Right. Nixon just really admired him, and in Brito's last game as a Redskin in 1958, Nixon was down on the field at halftime when Brito was getting a car as a prize for, you know, being such a great Redskin over the years and being so popular, not only as a player. Not only was he a great player and a first-team All-Pro several years, but he was very, very popular with the fans. But so Nixon is vice president. That's when he became a true Redskins fan for the first time. But then when he got in the White House in '68, or when George Allen came here in 1971, he reconnected with George Allen. The two had known each other from Allen's days coaching the Los Angeles Rams starting in 1966. So they reconnected, and they spoke. They spoke often. Actually, Nixon's White House tapes, they include at least a dozen conversations between Nixon and George Allen, which is it's just amazing. Why they would be secretly recorded, I don't know. But you can go on YouTube and listen to one of their conversations after a 1972 Redskins win over the Cowboys. Oh, man. It was, I believe, a 24-20 Redskins win that day. And that evening they spoke, and Nixon congratulated Allen, and he liked the performance of Sonny Jurgensen, Larry Brown, Charlie Haraway, some of the guys who really stood out in that game. And Nixon, of course, went to a Redskins practice in 1971. He visited the team. He gave them like a pep talk. I think they had lost 2 straight games, and they made the playoffs that year. He said, "I predict the Redskins will win 3 of their last 4 games in 1971. That's exactly what happened. They made the playoffs that year."
Well, you brought up a point here. It's time for you to tell us how many games the Redskins are going to win this year.
I would have to go with 9 right now. I think 9-7 is a pretty safe guess. I think that with Mike Shanahan there and Donovan McNabb, the Redskins are going to be winning games they found ways to lose last year. They shot themselves in the foot so many times last year. They were on the verge of winning. Take the Saints game here at FedEx Field. They had that game wrapped up. They missed a 23-yard field goal. They allowed the Saints back in the game toward the end. Jason Campbell threw interceptions at so many critical times last season that spoiled chances for Redskins victories. I don't think that's going to happen with McNabb there. He provides leadership that the Redskins haven't had in recent years. I also think that the Redskins are going to be pretty exciting on offense. Compared with past seasons, their offense has been like in quicksand. But with Kyle Shanahan there as the offensive coordinator, his Houston Texans had the #4 offense in the league last year, and now he's the Redskins offensive coordinator. I think the offense is going to be much more explosive. Watch out for Fred Davis and Chris Cooley at tight end. I think it's going to be a really, really nice combination.
You know, a lot of people are talking about Cooley coming back real big this year with the new setup, with new coaching and new quarterback and all. Is it true that they're going to name the Oakland Raiders the Redskins of the West since they have Jason Campbell and Colt Brennan?
That's possible. It's possible. Listen, I wish Jason Campbell the best. I'm sorry he didn't really hit it big here in Washington. I have interviewed him one-on-one on a number of occasions and also in media scrums. And you listen to him, and he's so humble, and he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. And so he's the type of guy you want to root for. You want him to win, not only because you're a Redskins fan, but because he's a likable guy. But I'm sorry that he just didn't cut it here in Washington.
He just didn't click at the right time.
Right. There were a number of occasions in his career here in Washington where he threw interceptions at the worst possible time. He just didn't seem to have those instincts that you need as a great quarterback to pull out those victories.
Well, I sort of like the guy that they picked up as their third string quarterback from the other side of the Beltway. I mean, the Parkway.
Well, he's one of your Ravens guys.
Yeah, but he originally was down there in Miami.
Right.
And I just think that he was a good addition for him, too.
Yeah, well, Colt Brennan was just really inconsistent in training camp. His passes were wild. He wasn't really connecting with the receivers, and Shanahan just gave up on him. But if the Redskins have to resort to Rex Grossman as their number 2 if McNabb gets hurt, McNabb has had a history of injuries throughout his career.
Right.
If the Redskins have to resort to Rex Grossman, they could be in trouble because, of course, Grossman doesn't have the mobility that McNabb provides, and Grossman has been somewhat erratic in his career as a quarterback. He did lead the Bears to the Super Bowl in the 2006 season, but the Redskins could be on shaky ground with him.
That's right. That might be a place that they will be on shaky ground. I don't think they'll be on shaky ground with the running backs. How have they looked, the running backs they have?
Well, Portis looks pretty good. He's lost about 10 pounds. Yeah. He looks like his step is back. Larry Johnson has looked good in training camp. Ryan Terrain has passed Willie Parker on the depth chart. He's another Redskins running back. Terrain was drafted by the Broncos in 2008 in the 5th round, and he hasn't played much in the past 2 seasons because of injuries. But Shanahan just signed him, and he's looking good also. I think in the backfield, on paper, it looks like they're loaded, but these guys, they're around 30 years old. Portis, Johnson, Willie Parker, and who knows, the Redskins could sign Brian Westbrook as well.
Yeah.
He's up there, too.
How old is Willie Parker?
He's 29 or 30.
Yeah, he's not as old as a couple of the others that I saw. I was looking at their ages, and I said, well, he's got more of a chance than I thought he would.
I think between Portis and Parker and Larry Johnson, they have like 11 Pro Bowl seasons among them and a number of 1,000-yard seasons. If those triplets really work out, the Redskins could be in decent shape in the backfield. But like I said, they're getting up in age for NFL running backs. I think I meant to say that they have like maybe 10 1,000-yard seasons among them. They have a slew of Pro Bowl seasons as well.
Right. Now, is there any truth to the rumor that the Redskins are close to changing their name because of all the upset about the Chiefs and all?
Not that I know.
You know, you hear that come up every year, and I think it's a waste of time because you have somebody like Florida State, the Seminoles. They told them, no, you're not changing our name. Well, and the fans don't want them.
Right. Well, didn't Florida State? They went directly to the NCAA, or they lobbied somebody. I don't know what the exact circumstances were, but they lobbied somebody to not have their name changed.
That's right.
In terms of the Redskins nickname, I really think that's open to interpretation. It's not like it's a cut and dry situation in terms of the Redskins being the last team in the league to integrate. I mean, we know that happened, but in terms of the nickname, it's open to interpretation. I think there are a number of tribes in this country that don't find that nickname offensive, and then there are other supporters of Native Americans that do find it offensive.
Yeah, I find that knowing some Native Americans, and I've had them tell me from both sides that, there's ones that don't have any problem with the names, and then you have some others that do, but mostly the people seem to like it. The Indians they used to have a great respect for the Redskins when they were winning.
Right.
Know?
Well, the son of the chief that negotiated with the Redskins in the early 70s to have the current emblem on their helmets. Well, he was the chief of a tribe in Idaho, I believe, and he's passed away. But his son recently contacted me and said that, hey, we don't find the nickname offensive. We were in conversation with the Redskins about the current logo, and a composite was developed based on what we had originally suggested to them. We don't find the nickname offensive. We see it as a issue of pride. That's how they look at it. And no members of their tribe, I think it's the Blackfoot tribe in Idaho, they don't find it offensive.
No, I think it's very true. And a lot of these teams that had names, well, Florida State still does, that those tribes seem to enjoy being related to a winning program with the Indian name.
Right. Well, it's open to interpretation. Some people do find it offensive, others don't. And but I don't think the Redskins are in any danger of having their nickname stripped from them.
I don't think so either, but it's a question that does come up and is often asked, you know. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, being the Redskin historian, right? Let's repeat about the new book you've got, the Football Vault, the Redskins Football Vault, and where can they find out about this?
It's available for sale on my website, redskinshistorian.com. And also the encyclopedia can be purchased on my website. My website actually has a lot of information about both books. It has excerpts from both books. In terms of the vault, there are memorabilia, images of memorabilia that are in the book are available for viewing on the website as well. And I'm extremely excited about the release of the book. I think that it complements the encyclopedia nicely because, like I said, the encyclopedia is a lot of text, it's a lot of information, and this book is a lot more colorful, not only with photos but with the memorabilia. So I think it complements the encyclopedia very well. Great
Christmas gift, both books, great. And great early season football gifts, too.
Thank you very much. Yes, I would definitely agree with that.
Okay, well, we've got to go now, but I want you to come back, and I want you to tell us more about the Redskins as they progress a little bit under the Shanahan era and McNabb era, because the people are really interested. It looks like the Redskins have been regenerated with the fans almost.
I think there's a lot more enthusiasm now than the beginning of last season. Last season, the Redskins were coming off an 8-8 year. I think there's sort of that cautious type of optimism right now. Mike Shanahan is a 2-time Super Bowl winner. Donovan McNabb led the Eagles to 5 NFC championship games and 1 Super Bowl. So the Redskins fans know they have a couple of winners there now. With Jim Zorn, he was unproven. Jason Campbell, I mean, last season, before the year started, I was saying this is it for him. If he doesn't produce this year, then he's out. And so there was that uncertainty about him. This year, we know that there are some proven winners in the Redskins organization. And I want to compliment Dan Snyder very much. I know he's taken a lot of heat for what has happened throughout his term as the Redskins owner. But I think I like the fact that he's backed off and he's letting these other guys run the show in Mike Shanahan and general manager Bruce Allen. And Allen, I should say, is getting a lot of the Redskins alumni much more involved with the team these days, which I think is a very good sign.
That's great. Well, we have to go. But like I say, we want you back as the Redskins progress into the season. So remember, we'll see you next time with another exciting guest. Our guest in this show has been Mike Richman and his 2 good books. In fact, I say great books. Go ahead and get them. Redskin Encyclopedia and the Redskins Vault. See you next time.